Welcome back to In the Wings, a Beachmont Players podcast where we talk about all things Beachmont Players. I'm your host, Kiya, and I'm here with my co-host, Michael Yarick. Say hi.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. And we are joined today by Hailey Callison, who is from a group called Made Up Mayhem. They're an improv troupe known for their hilarious antics at the Ohio Renaissance Festival. And this May, in between weekends for our musical working, we're actually going to be hosting them for one night only. So we're super happy to have you, Hailey. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to do the show, too.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be hilarious and amazing. I love improv. I'm really bad at it, but I love it, especially watching it. It's really fun. And we always like to kind of start these episodes with a little bit of a throwback to a previous Beachmont Players production. So since Made Up Mayhem does perform regularly at the Renaissance Festival, I thought it might be fun to see if either of you can guess the last time Beachmont did a show that was set in medieval times.
I'm trying to think of shows that are set in medieval times. You have I'm assuming you mean you have Spam-A-Lot. What's the one about Don Quixote whose name I always forget? The musical, that one. Oh,
yes.
God. People will be so upset with me for that. Those are the ones that come to mind. I don't know.
There's not a lot of them, honestly. At least like musicals, especially.
Would it be within the last decade?
Yes.
Yes. I did not narrow it down much.
like literally just right on the edge.
So 9.5 years ago?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got nothing, Kiya, on this one.
All right. So we last did, and this is just from my preliminary guessing as to what shows are actually set in medieval times, but from my best educated guesses. So The Trials of Robin Hood by Will Averill. That was done in August of 2015. And then 2 years before that, we did My Name is Rumpelstiltskin by Vera Morris. And then a couple years before that, we did Once Upon a Mattress. So pretty much right back to back to back, 2 to 3 years in between each of them, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I adhere to your guess that those are all medieval shows.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Absolutely.
Robin Hood, Rumpelstiltskin, and The Princess and the Pea. We got that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
And if
they're not medieval, they're vaguely medieval themed.
Yes.
And if anybody knows of a show we're forgetting, let us know.
Please. So, Hailey, I want to dive in, and I was hoping you would just tell us a little bit about your group, Made Up Mayhem, and how this kind of formed and came to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So Made Up Mayhem started out at the Ohio Renaissance Festival. All of us were originally cast members for the Ohio Renaissance Festival. Just street cast. The way that they run their street cast is you kind of audition and then you are just a general character. And then you can do some other shows and some other things that are there and available for people to kind of join in on. And we originally started as a bit for one of the pub shows. And actually it was, we did I Like My Like I Like My. That was kind of the first thing that we really came together and did. The I Like My Lovers, I Like My, whatever. And then from there, we kind of decided to band together, and we've had many different members over the years and iterations, but eventually we just sort of decided to, we changed our name. Originally, we were something else, Our Two Pence. But we eventually changed our name to Made Up Mayhem, and really went out for shows and kind of started to take ourselves more seriously as far as just rehearsing and, just trying to be better at what we all enjoyed to do, and have experienced mild success from that. So a little bit of luck and a lot of work, and here we are.
So I'm going to ask this question because I know somebody's going to ask it. How, describe what rehearsal looks like for an improv show, because I think that's great.
Yes, yeah. Before I ever joined the Renaissance Festival, I did a lot of community theater. So I'm very familiar with like what it's like to sit in that seat and be like,
Sure.
how do you even rehearse this? And honestly, as opposed to like trying to rehearse like a moment or a script where you're trying to make the same scene that you can repeat,
Mhm.
when you're rehearsing for improv, it's a lot more like you're trying to rehearse for a skill or a concept in a
Yeah,
game. So we do a lot of short form, which is just playing games. If you've ever seen Whose Line Is It Anyway?
absolutely.
Um, that is, we do a lot of that. And so sometimes you just practice the game and you just practice by yourself with your group and just run it a bunch of times with different people in different positions and then talk about how it went, how you could do better, what you're
Yeah.
aiming for. And then we do storytelling, which is like long form improv, which is, you tell one story over anywhere from 20 minutes to, at the Renaissance Festival, we do it for about an hour. And that is much more difficult. It's a lot harder to practice that because you kind of get into it and it's not repeatable, right? So you could just do good things and talk about what went well, and then afterwards figure out how you can encapsulate that and then repeat it somehow without actually being able to repeat it word for word or moment for moment.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. When you're doing long form like that, do you find like the same people kind of fall into like the same type of characters that they portray? Is that a thing?
Yes, actually. There are 8 of us in our group, and so at the Renaissance Festival, we do an hour-long show every day. It's the Royal Feast, and people eat while they do it. And essentially, we do 4 acts. They're 15 minutes each. And some of our members absolutely will fall into the main character all the time. Some of our members love to be like the goblin characters that are just sort of causing mischief. Some of us really love to be the villains and do an excellent job at it. It just kind of depends. And then every once in a while, because it's improv, everything will get flipped on its head and we'll all end up playing different characters and it will be an entirely different experience. But because we've worked at so many different things and tried to flip it on its head before and put in that practice, it normally turns out pretty good.
How often do you guys rehearse?
So it kind of depends. Last year, just because of timing, we were rehearsing about once a week. This year, we're rehearsing every other week, and we're able to rehearse for a little bit longer on the days we rehearse. And then we get into the Renaissance Festival season, and we are basically together every single weekend, either teaching or performing. And we kind of throw rehearsal aside. There's a rehearsal process for that Renaissance Festival, but once you get into it, it's sort of just going. And there comes a moment where like rehearsal and performance kind of become one and the same.
And it's honestly sounds like such a blast because I imagine that with improvising, there's a lot of this of just like, I don't know, when I think of it, I think of like staring at my like scene partners and being like, help or like whatever. But that's because I'm not good at it, right? But I'm sure you guys build up like a lot of chemistry with each other and start figuring out what the needs of each other are in the middle of like, you know, scenes that you haven't done before. So, um, yeah, is that along the lines of how you would articulate that?
Yeah, actually, there's a concept in improv called group mind. And what group mind is when everybody kind of gets to the point where they're sharing not the same thought, but the same idea, the same trail of thoughts. So it's easy to pick up whatever somebody else throws out. Saying that, though, doesn't mean that we always necessarily have the group mind. There's plenty of times where we're in the middle of a show and I find myself or my group members find ourselves looking at each other like, oh my God, please help me. Do you have anything to say that can help me in this moment? But that's kind of just what it's all about. It's just trying to like work together enough that you create that group mind and you can flow well with each other no matter what anybody else throws at you in the group. And the only thing that's really different between us and like literally anybody else who does improv is that we've spent so much time building that group mind.
Yeah.
There's no real such thing as bad at improv. It just kind of depends on how much you practice it and how much you put into it with the people that you're doing the improv with.
Yeah, and I feel like every improv show I've seen too, like there's so much heart and joy out of the like weird mistakes, or like when somebody's like, I don't know what to do with that. Like that's always like just as much fun and part of the show as anything else, right? Like to see a group of like professional improvers like get tripped up on each other and then like have fun with it and keep going. That's like such a blast and very wholesome too, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and you kind of mentioned people throwing something unexpected at you during your performances. And this can be a group question, I think that we can all answer. What's been the most either outrageous or unexpected thing that's happened during a show or performance?
Oh man. Well, working at the Ren Fair provides lots of very unique experiences, I think, as opposed to what you would get in like a more formal setting, or even like we've done some shows at like some like board game bars and that kind of stuff. I think the craziest thing that ever happened to us was a man in a banana costume
Oh man,
showed up.
The story starts off great. I love
it
this.
really does. Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, he showed up, and he actually showed up before our show even started, and he was out at the front gates of the Renaissance Festival before the day started. And because at that time we were all like on Streetcast as well as like in the group, and so like we were kind of like scattered all over the place. And they do like a little like 10-minute show at the beginning of the Renaissance Festival day, and it's a great show. It's pretty low stakes but pretty fun. And that guy just showed up, and he was just in the back of the crowd, like way out in the field, just like cheering and like arms up to the sky and just like, wow, crazy dude. And so, of course, like we all who love improv and love like the chaos of it all, as soon as that guy came in the gates, like at least like 3 of our members like stopped him and were like, what are you about? And his name was Reginald, or at least that's what he told us. And Reginald just had I just imagine the best day at the Renaissance Festival. But he showed up to our show, like they pitched him our show, and he ended up showing up to our show later on. And he was so crazy. He was such an enigma that we invited him to like take the stage with us for a bit that we hadn't really planned to do. And like if you do improv, right, like part of the magic of improv is having somebody who's clearly not a part of your group either give you those suggestions or like come up on stage and do something with you. And usually that's pretty like that's the scripted part of improv is like, here's how this is supposed to work. Here's what we're looking for from a person in the audience and, you know, coming up to kind of do the thing. And this was like a scene that normally only us would do, only the actors would do. And we invited him to join the scene. And it was, it was 2 minutes, which is the game. If you've ever seen Whose Line Is It Anyway, they play the same game where you do a scene and then you do the same scene, but for a minute, and then you do the same scene but for 30 seconds and then 15 and so on. Yep. And we invited this guy to do it, and he was really great. I don't know if he had like some improv experience or whatever. He was about college age, so maybe he was like, you know, doing some stuff. But he did all right. But there was definitely a moment where they went to do this very physical move where one of the characters had kicked another character, and he went to do it and got a little close. And the member of our group who was hosting at the time was like, let's not hurt our fellow players in the game.
Oh no.
But it worked out great. And now every time we see a man in a banana costume at the Renaissance Festival, we call him Reginald. Yes. And I'm never sure if it's the same guy or not.
I mean, how many people would you say are in banana costumes at the Renaissance Festival?
It's surprisingly common.
I love that so
really
much.
It's surprisingly common. Yeah.
So if I wear a banana costume to the Renaissance Festival, you guys will call me Reginald.
Yeah, if you come to our show, we might call you Reginald, and if you go along with it, we might believe you.
I love that. Okay, so my outrageous story. Well, okay, we'll call this an unexpected story. It's kind of funny and kind of like in the moment, it was not funny at all. We like, I did this show, and we were doing, it was for an international theater festival. And so all these other countries that speak different languages or whatever, they're doing all these like movement based pieces. And for some reason, our group had this like really intellectual, academic sounding script that we were performing at this international festival. Really weird choice, but the script was really good. So it was two guys, and they're discussing artwork and like the intention behind the building of said artwork. And these were actual art pieces that were made by a woman in Turkey that they knew. So we're performing this, and the rest of us are audience plants. So we're like people in the audience that are like kind of heckling, maybe asking questions of this whatever. So like, it's kind of immersive, whatever. So me and three other people were like sitting in the audience, and we're like piping in when we're supposed to, where the script tells us. And these guys are giving this presentation. Well, at a certain point in the presentation, they start like trashing the artwork. Now, they had permission from the artist ahead of time to do this, right? Like, she read the script, whatever. But in the middle of the show, they start trashing this artwork. This dude stands up from the crowd, and he's like, yo, my girlfriend made that artwork. So like, straight up, not kidding, the boyfriend of the woman who made the art that the show is based off, right? This fictional show is based off of this real artwork, and they have talked with this woman, whatever. Her boyfriend happened to just be in the crowd that day.
Oh
And
my
he like
God.
piped
Oh
in
my
and was
gosh.
like, yo, that's my girlfriend's artwork you're dissing. And like, literally nobody was prepared for that, like, at all, right?
No.
So it was like,
Oh, no.
improv failed all of us. And we kept going. I don't remember exactly what played out. I just know there was a collective like, oh God, what do we do? I think they just ended up ignoring it, and we're just like, yeah, and then kept with the script, which is like, probably not the best, but God, definitely the most outrageous and unexpected like moment in improv for us.
What are the chances?
I know.
That's
And I will say, I mean, so we were performing at a university, and we knew that the artist was like a former art student from that university. So like, I guess it wasn't like totally needle in a haystack, but definitely like unexpected and hard to get ourselves out of.
yeah. Oh my God. Let's see. For me, I was in this play a couple years ago, and I had to like do this pretty intense like fight scene where I had to like grapple with somebody and roll around on the floor, and very, very messy, very cat fight like. It was very fun though. But prior to that, the scene right before this fight scene, someone knocked a glass off the table, and it shattered all over the floor,
Ooh.
which is why we use plastic in theater, people.
Yeah.
And it just got everywhere, shards of glass everywhere, literally right in the spot where I'm supposed to like, be slammed onto my knees and
Oh.
everything and roll around, and not exactly what you want, right? But we had a character in the show that was a butler. And he just, after that scene ends, he comes out with a broom that he found backstage, and he just starts sweeping up, and he like, I don't know, improvs like, oh, don't mind me, I'm just cleaning up the mess or whatever. And it was brilliant. It was perfect. We still did hold for like 2 minutes so we could make sure all the glass pieces got picked up. But that was definitely very unexpected and a little scary, but all is well. So
And
That's awesome.
and he decided to come out in a banana costume too, of all things.
So, other than performing, your group also teaches improv, both at the Renaissance Festival and through different like classes and workshops. What's that been like, kind of shifting from a performance aspect to more the coaching aspect?
Yeah. So we started teaching, oh gosh, I don't even know how many years it's been now, since it was post-pandemic, but right after, maybe 2021, we started teaching the cast at the Renaissance Festival. Our director approached us, and there was a need at the time for it, and he asked us to kind of put some stuff together. And we had been doing improv at the Renaissance Festival. That's where all of us like either started or obviously met. And it was one of those things that we sort of just got together and we're like, okay, well, here's what we're used to, and here's what we know from our collective experience. And we sort of went through the first year and really taught more from the heart and more from like, hey, let's kind of just restart and let's get back to what's fun and what we really enjoy. And we found we really liked it a lot. One of our members is actually like, that's his day job, is what he does is teach. And we started to go to more workshops and classes ourselves, and then kind of get out there and learn some more and start teaching some more and start doing workshops. And now we've partnered with a talent agency up in Columbus, Mime Wolf in Casting is what they're called. And we basically do once a month, either jams where just people kind of show up, and it's like $5. You get in and we just play improv games all night. Anybody's free to come and do that. There's no like, you have to have done improv before. There's no skill level requirement. It's literally just bring your own beer kind of thing and come do improv with us. And then every other month we follow that up with some sort of class. We've done ones where we did a basic intro to improv. We've talked about improv for film. We've talked about doing some advanced improv, all that kind of stuff. And we've talked about doing a couple of other like off the wall classes that we just need to find the right place for, like improv for D&D kind of stuff.
Oh, heck yeah.
That's
we've just, we've been working on a lot of stuff to do the teaching and really, really kind of improve ourselves in that way, because we found that as fun as it is to do improv, there's a lot of people out there who want to do improv, and helping them do that allows us to do more of that.
Sure. Well, you have groups like Whose Line Is It Anyways, and all the Dropout TV stuff, right? Where like I feel like there is a popularity, like kind of insurgence. Is that word? That sounds like a word that I could use in this context.
That's a word.
Where it's like progressing up in popularity, which is honestly really fun to see. But no, is there a way that we can plug those classes you guys do for you?
So most of our stuff right now, Facebook, it's kind of where all of our stuff goes through. And a lot of like the casting agency that we're working with, they've got a lot of stuff on Facebook as well as their website. So that's kind of where we're posting things now. We're hoping to get some more stuff up later, but as of right now, it's really just that.
And in terms of the Beachmont show, when and where is it, and how can people get tickets?
Yeah, so it is going to be on May 7th at 7:30 is when it will start, but of course 7 o'clock is when doors open and folks can come in and get their seats. People can get, it's beachmontplayers.com.
.org, yes.
.org, yeah. Beachmontplayers.org. All of it's up there. I assume with the rest of your guys' shows, you click on the little tab and go down to that one.
Yeah.
And we're excited to see everyone there.
I'm sure it's going to be a blast. And Beachmont, we've been like trying so much lately to sort of broaden our horizons and like do different things and see what we can offer the community. And I think this is going to be an awesome sort of partnership that hopefully brings a lot of joy to people, because who doesn't love an improv show?
Yeah.
And I figured it might be fun to give a potential audience member a little taste as to what they might be able to expect from an improv show. So you mentioned earlier that one of your typical audience favorites is the I like my lovers like I like my blank game. So we can just showcase how bad my improv skills are, and we can play a couple rounds maybe if you guys are up for it.
Hailey's gonna wipe the floor with us.
Yes.
I'm about.
This is also a little bit like all of us in our group have like a kind of special power, what we kind of excel at. And this is definitely, these types of games are like my thing too. So,
well, dang it.
We're at such a disadvantage.
We are going to lose, Mike.
No such thing as bad improv. You're all good.
All right. Let's see. For the first one, do we want to do coffee?
Sure.
Do we want to just like take turns? Or like, what's the best way to do this?
I think we just throw them out. My brain says, I like my lovers like I like my coffee hot. Because
I like my lovers like I like my coffee with a nice handle to hold.
Ooh.
Love handles in this scenario?
We accept all things, and I like my
Incredible.
Let's see. I like my lovers like I like my coffee rich.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So like, tell me if this is the line. We'll just
Great way
go
to
for it.
start that.
Yeah.
I like my lovers like I like my coffee. Usually a little disappointing after 20 minutes.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's
Okay,
definitely
cool.
not crossing the
Incredible.
line. Yeah. It's fun to play the Am I Crossing the Line game like live in front of an audience. It's a real fun game.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
We'll cut out all the dead silence while I think of nothing.
I like my lovers like I like my coffee, full of cream.
Ooh, I like my
Cream
lovers
is what
like
I was avoiding desperately because I didn't know if it was appropriate or not. Smoking.
smoking. Yeah, there you go. Let's see. I like my lovers like I like my coffee. Ground up. It's fine. We get weird.
Just
it's whatever.
lukewarm, not exciting at all.
That's the kind of thing that we would get like a big old groan from the audience for. And sometimes you get a groan from the audience and you just gotta own it.
Absolutely. With a koozie on. Okay, what about I like my lovers like I like guitars.
Well strung.
Ooh.
Well strung.
I don't know.
In tune.
Yeah.
Plugged in. Connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're networking people here. There's a lot of dirty ones that I'm avoiding saying right
I'm
now.
like,
this is now okay. I'm now convinced this is the hardest part of improv is not saying something wildly inappropriate.
Honestly, you'd be surprised how many times like one of us on stage will say something like that, and then you will see like two or three of the rest of us like eyes wide, mouth open. Like, did you just say that in front of an audience?
Oh no. Yeah.
Never gotten a letter though. Never gotten a letter.
No complaints. That's good.
Yeah.
Let's do another prompt because I don't know much about guitars. Or I feel like everything I do know about guitars, I can't say. Let's go with the I like my lovers like I like my Renfest turkey legs. Enjoyed with both hands.
I'm gonna say with a little meat on the bones.
Yeah.
The hesitation.
Yep. I like my lovers like I like my Renfest turkey legs. For some reason, it tastes like ham.
Oh no.
I like my lovers like I like my turkey legs. A little greasy, but worth the mess.
Wholesome in a weird way. Just a sweaty boy looking for love. That's good.
Mike, I know this puts you in a weird position because you're a vegetarian.
That's true. That's true. I like my lovers like I like my Renfest turkey legs. Not at all.
You know what? Anybody who's ever worked at a Renfest normally hates the turkey legs. So that's pretty solid across the board.
What was the moment in Godspell that happened a couple months ago? I was like on stage and I was supposed to have this magic wand that turned into a flower, but I was like waving it around and it flew off and landed in the director's hair who was off stage.
It was hysterical.
And then it's like, well, how do you save the punchline that I needed this wand for? That's when every actor's like, I should take an improv class when something goes horribly wrong during a show and you're like, if only I had prepared for this moment.
Yep.
Then it just became a whole scene about a defective prop, which is great.
You always feel really accomplished when you can take something like that and turn it into something that like, the audience left and like they're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, that's the memorable part. I did it.
And it also like speaks to the comfortability of people on stage too. Or like when you're like when you're able to just like disconnect from the fear of failure and messing up and just be like, no, yeah, I'm just playing this off because it's a necessity. And I think audiences like can really respect or get behind that, right? Like that's how you earn their trust is they see how comfortable you are with like something going wrong, right? So
yeah. I think just like Kiya said earlier with like breaking the glass on stage and having somebody who plays a butler come out and fix it. Like, I think that's brilliant. I was once in Noises Off. I don't know if you've ever heard of the show Noises Off.
Noises Off too.
It's my favorite show ever. First theater show I did in high school, ironically. But we broke glass on stage during the very first act. But because the first act is like the last night of their rehearsal before they begin and go on tour, we were able to bring out the people who play the stage manager and the stage crew guy, and they were able to clean it up. And like, even when we got it backstage, like you could hear the glass like going into the bucket and hitting the bucket, and like the audience kept laughing. So it's a good feeling when you make it all kind of work and mesh together.
Who did you play in that show?
I played Belinda/Flavia.
Is that?
She's the one who she's like desperately trying to hold it together like throughout the whole show. Like everyone else is kind of like in the middle of their love triangle, and she has a thing for Freddie, but like mostly she's just trying to like, every time someone comes in, she's like, I can save the show with my actions.
Okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was a bucket list show for me. I was like, I want to be in Noises Off because I think the Michael Caine movie is just so good. Good. And I got to be Tim, the stage crew guy. Yeah. God, what a blast! What a blast!
It's my favorite show. It's so crazy. Anytime it's anywhere, I drop everything to go see it because it's so crazy how many different ways you can do it.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, honestly, it is kind of a staple for improv because half that show is, I mean, it's scripted improv, right? Like we're supposed to feel like they're really struggling through the show, but that's the time when we need it the most, right?
Yeah. Anytime there's a farce, any farce is great for improv because any farce just absolutely means something's going to get wrong.
It will go
or
wrong.
Be screwed up. Yep.
So before we wrap up, Hailey, is there anything else you want to say or share? Maybe give a teaser to what they can expect when they come to see your show?
Oh, yeah. So for the show, what I will say is actually we've worked on a bit of short form and long form. So we're going to do a bit of both. Short form, like I said earlier, is kind of like Who's Line, bunch of games, different things. And then long form is really putting together a whole story, which is quite an interesting experience, sitting in a room full of people all crafting the same story together. So we're really excited to kind of mesh the two together into one show and kind of like showcase kind of the best of everything that we do. And beyond that, I think I just want to say, once again, thanks for having us. Like, we're really excited to do something down in Cincy and really get out there and show our stuff.
Heck yeah, and we're excited to see it.
Mm-hmm.
This has been another episode of In the Wings, a podcast production telling you about all things Beachmont players. If you'd like to get involved with us or see what else we've got going on, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can do so via our website, beachmontplayers.org. Link in the description. Until next time.